Hey folks, Ryan here from PraiseCharts. Today we're going to be talking about Christmas arrangements and production style and all of that. Christmas is just around the corner, and it's a season where we're constantly re-singing the same songs year after year after year, harvesting from such a great catalog of music that's been written for really hundreds of years. But how do you make them fresh? How do you make them new? How do you make them feel like it fits with the way that we've been singing at church? September, October, November, and then suddenly hit December. Well, Nathan Drake has put a lot of energy into his one-man production studio, and he's literally in his studio right now, produced some really great arrangements under the whole catalog of Reawaken hymns. And so we're going to talk about that and then specifically zone in on some beautiful Christmas arrangements and just talk about exactly how he was thinking, what instruments he was using, the styling, the beat, the rhythms, all of that. And hopefully you can apply some of this to make your Christmas worship services amazing. Looking forward to it. Let's bring in Nathan Drake. Nathan, you right in your studio. I mean, this is where all the action happens, right? Look
right
at that.
Here.
Guitars right there.
Yep.
Are you seriously, you don't have a full band? You are just a one-man pumping machine. Every worship pastor's dream.
Yep, just me.
Yeah.
Also, awesome. Every worship leader's nightmare, because that's what they all have to do, right?
Exactly. Well, I was just telling you, and I got to say, I don't know, for those of you who are listening, if you have listened through some of these arrangements, I would encourage you, definitely go into PraiseCharts. We've got now, it seems like almost 100, or I don't know how many there are, or more than 100. There are a lot of arrangements, and they're all hymns, carols. They're the songs of our historic faith, and you're bringing them into the new vibe of modern worship. So it sounds amazing. Why don't you just give us the 1 minute sort of elevator story of how did you get into this, or why did you decide this would be your thing?
Sure. 1 minute. All right, here we go.
Okay.
So Reawaken Hymns itself started 8 years ago. I was just looking for hymns from my church and couldn't find ones that weren't significantly altered at that time. And that's what I was looking for. So I started making my own arrangements, putting them out there. It grew. That's how Reawaken Hymns started. And then the whole Trinity Project and Soul of All It's Worth, which is what you were just talking about, which is 85 total, I guess.
Yeah.
So that started about 3 years ago. Met with some guys who have a small publishing company. They were writing devotionals about hymns. So we got together and I started working with them, and we decided we would do a Trinity project. We would do 20 hymns for each member of the Trinity, Father, Son, Spirit. And I had done a lot of acoustic hymns, and I wanted to do ones that were more for full modern worship bands, because a lot of people were asking me about that. So these are all, just like any other modern worship song, as far as instrumentation is concerned, electric guitars, synths, pads, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And there's 60 of those for the Trinity Project, and then 25 for the Soul of All It's Worth, which is the Christmas.
Wow. Hey, I can picture the Nathan Drake hymn book showing up in churches all across America. There you go. You've rewritten all the songs. But the unique thing, I just heard this from you, and is because a lot of times when we're reimagining hymns, it's let's change the melody, or let's add a bridge, or let's, put my twist on this, or let's change verse 3 into my own lyrics. It sounds like you're specifically going, let's not tamper with the core of the hymn. So just give me a little bit of background as to your sort of unique approach to how you're doing these hymns. I think that's very important.
Yeah, so my goal with all of them is to not have to change the melody at all and not change the lyrics if unnecessary. I don't have an issue with, new versions of hymns or anything, but a lot of people don't want that. They need the older melody, because sometimes you're using hymns because you have an older generation who's doesn't know the modern songs, so you want them to be able to sing along. And if the hymns change, then that purpose is just gone, Yeah. So that was my goal. And I will say, for some hymns, it was very difficult to make them sound modern without changing the melody at all, because the melody is so dated. And there were a
Yeah.
couple I had to change the words just 'cause, like Rock of Ages. I just couldn't sing the word naked that was in the original one without it sounding weird. So I changed
Okay.
some minor little tweaks to songs to make
Right.
them a little bit more less awkward in modern vernacular. But in
Yeah.
general, yeah, that's my goal is that I want people to be able to use these songs and they perfectly fit in musically with what they're playing in modern worship, but two,
Yeah.
can be sung by anyone who knows the hymn without any issue so that everybody can
Yeah.
sing along.
Yeah. That's great. And I think the note about this is, for the most part, you don't have to teach these songs to the congregation. It's like they already know the song. So,
Mm-hmm.
because so many times when we're thinking about, oh, I want to do this song and that song, but you can only teach so many songs to a church. But these
Mm-hmm.
songs kind of get a free pass because, they're hymns and you're not really fundamentally changing the melody or the lyrics. It's just you got to
Yeah.
get the band on the same page. So
It's
that's
a
good.
cheat. It's like a cheat code for introducing new songs, because everybody's like, don't introduce too many new songs. But if
I
you
know.
introduce one of these, then they're like, oh, I know
Yeah.
this one. That doesn't count.
Exactly. Okay, well, let's take some time to actually listen to them. And for those of you listening in, this is all stuff you could do online. I'm just going to be like going through the site here with Nathan himself. This is Reawaken Hymns. And so this is the whole project that he's got. I just want to show you down here. These are the 4 albums. So here, Hymns of the Spirit just came out a month ago. Is that right?
Yep.
You got
Yep.
Hymns of the Spirit, Hymns of the Son, and then Hymns of the Father. That is the Trinity project that you were talking
Yep.
about.
Yep.
So, and then we've got The Soul Felt Its Worth, which is brand new, a Christmas project. So there you go. There is the online digital hymnal of the Reawaken project. I don't know where you're going to go from here. Like, what else is there to talk about? You have pretty much covered it.
I've done all the hymns. I guess I quit.
I
now.
know.
I don't know.
I guess so. Well, now let's just get people singing them.
Yeah.
So,
There we go.
okay, well, let's just take a little sampling of your latest project, Hymns of the Spirit, just to hear one. Can I just pick one and play it? Like, we'll start with How Firm a Foundation. Here we go.
Oh, it's got a slow.
Yeah.
How firm a foundation, ye saints of the Lord, is laid for your faith in this excellent word. What more can he say than to you he has said, to you who for refuge to Jesus has fled?
Wow, this is really beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You would not know this is a hymn. It's great.
You should. So that's one of those. That was one that was hard to modernize because that melody is so. So that one's kind of a slow burn one, which is really nice. If you want to play another one, "Breathe on Me, Breath
I
of
do.
God." So that
Okay.
one is one that I think people typically think of as like a Sunday school sounding song. So I tried to
Yep.
go the opposite way with it. So
Right. Now the problem, there, I found it. Breathe on Me, Breath of God. Let's go to that. Let's just one sec here. Here we go. Play that. Love it.
Breathe on me, breath of God. Fill me with life anew, that I may love what you would love and do what you would do.
I notice with all these songs, you're bringing this kind of unique musical personality to it. It's almost like a hook or something like that. Let's just talk a little bit now about like what's musically going on when you are taking a song like Breathe on Me, Breath of God? What's given it that vibe so that you can merge the classic melody with a new vibe, a new feel?
Yeah. So you mentioned the hook. That was an interesting
Yeah.
challenge, and for a lot of churches is that modern songs, modern worship songs. You got verse one, you have verse one again, you got chorus, you got chorus two, then you got a bridge, and you got a
Yeah.
third bridge, and it's like there's so many parts that there's no problem keeping interest. A lot of hymns are just verse, 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 and that's musically all
Right.
there is. So
Yeah.
this happened accidentally at the beginning, but I was like, oh well, this is exactly what I need to do. You'll hear on most songs in between the verses, there's like an instrumental hook, like you said,
Yeah.
and it basically
Yeah.
serves as like a musical chorus to add some interest and transition without actually
Yep.
adding any sort of chorus to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. So I would just suggest for those of you leading worship teams and worship bands, if you're going to spend time on a song, spend extra amount of time on that 15 seconds in the arrangement that you call the hook, because it's kind of like, it's worth it. Get your electric guitar player to like know that melody, because that's what gives it the personality, the interest, the vibe, and then the rest of the song can kind of carry itself. Wouldn't you say a little bit more once you've got that core personality to the arrangement? So
most definitely, and the other
yeah,
big thing I think is just add dynamics, because modern worship songs are
yeah,
incredibly dynamic, big, small, all over the place. Hymns are the exact opposite, and that's like 50% of what it makes it sound dated if you just play it the same
yeah,
whole way through. So just take the four
right,
verses, make one small, make one big, make one a build, and that'll just modernize it
right,
right away.
right. Very good. Beautiful. Well, I'm excited to like dive into the Christmas stuff. So let's do it. I'm just gonna bring my site over here. I'll bring it up here. We'll go to the Christmas album. My soul felt its worth. I know we're recording this in early November here of 2022, so we're right in the cusp of people either feeling like I'm ready. I had all my music picked out in March, no problem, no stress here, or the rest of us who are in the reality are like, Christmas is 6 weeks away. I still got a plan for Sunday of Advent. You know how it is, right? So, okay, we're going to take a song like Angels We Have Heard on High. Nobody doesn't know this one. I'm interested to hear what spin you put on this. So let's listen to it.
Singing o'er the plains and
It's got
the
an acoustic
mountains
pulse.
in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
So I'm interested as I'm listening, because I'm an acoustic guitar player. Tell me exactly how are you shaping your chords? Because you've got a very beautiful, what do you call it? Like the way you're playing the strings. It's got a nice vibe to it. Are you capoing? Is that in E? Is it a different tuning?
Oh boy, what did I do on the album?
Oh, can you
I
remember?
believe I'm I'm pretty sure I play this two different ways depending on if I'm playing it live or on the album. So I'm pretty sure what I did there was like the high open E bar chord. You can't see my hand.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like you're on like
yeah,
the seventh fret,
yeah,
and then you play the power chord, but then you leave the high strings
yeah,
open. And you can do that
yeah,
all the way up and down, and then that way you can get that really like chunky palm muted,
yep.
like almost that shaker sound.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think
It's a beautiful way to play an E chord, but just the way that you've shaped the chords there, I can really hear that. And then, yeah, the use of the acoustic, so making space for not just like the whole band powering in right away. You got to really create some space to hear the acoustic kind of plucking its way through on this arrangement.
yeah. The whole Soul Village Worth album is it's a bit more acoustic than the rest of them, and I can't
Yep.
I still can't think of the word that it is, but it's kind of a rootsy, like a
Yeah.
whimsical rootsy sound, if that makes sense. And that's what I was going
Yep.
for, because I know at Christmas when the music kind of changes, there seems to be like two ways to go. One is like this big, we get bigger and we get like more like bombastic and epic and whatever,
Yeah.
and the other way to go is kind of this bring it down, acoustic, rootsy, just Rhodes pianos, a cello. There's cello on every
Yep.
song on this album. So that's what I was going for this album, and it's the sound that I really like. Like at my church when we do Christmas, I love to do that kind of rootsy sound.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's just keep listening through a couple more. So, Come Thou Long Expected Jesus. Hear that.
Expected Jesus, born to set thy people free from our fears.
I believe this is
Similar kind of like acoustic here. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is just acoustic and cello, I believe.
Find our rest in thee. Ease our strength and consolation.
Kind of lilting on the 6/8. Not too much movement. Easy to flow. Not a lot of busyness in the acoustic guitar either. Just like 3 notes on each tune.
Of every longing heart.
Kind of got that 3/4 lilt, eh? Yeah. Beautiful.
That one's a good example of a lot of Christmas songs have very complex and quick melodies, and like "Come Thou Long Expected," you like that. There's what's that in part? Dear desire of every nation. You're doing like 60-note walk-ups in the vocals.
Yeah.
So you almost just want to keep the background simple, because if you don't, it's just a mess with the vocals, you know?
Totally. Okay. Once in Royal David City, I don't sing this song a lot at Christmas time. So, I mean, I know the song. You hear it on the radio, but it's not it's not like Angels We Have Heard on High. So I'm going to play it, just see what you've done with it.
Stood a lowly cattle shed, where a mother laid her baby.
Are you just like staying on the one chord, like one note?
Yep, the first verse is just one note.
Yep.
The mother mild, Jesus Christ, her little child. Down
pulsing bass on the 1, on the 4, yeah.
Who is God and Lord of all, and his shelter was a stable, and his cradle was a stall. With the
kind of feel
that's
like
something
as
I
I'm
did a lot.
Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, what you mentioned is staying on the 1. There's probably 5 or 6 on this where the first verse is just that 1, and it was another good way to break up that 5 verses in a row thing, is switch your chords, you know? So
Yep. Beautiful. Okay, Joy to the World. I'm just going to kind of keep doing this. I'm kind of enjoying this here, just listening to different takes on all these songs.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive.
I'm going to skip ahead here just to kind of go into
joy to the earth, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while field and flood.
A lot of movement in the bass makes it interesting.
Repeat the sounding joy. Repeat the sounding joy.
Bass is playing the vocal melody there.
Yeah, interesting take.
The sounding joy.
See, and then another layer, building, right?
No more let's sin.
A little more piano in here.
Sorrow grow. No thorns infest the ground.
That's great. Okay, let's see. Oh, come all ye faithful. Let's try that one. Here we go.
joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and
Kind of feel like as I'm listening to these, even if you're just doing these songs with your family on Christmas morning, it's like they're nice acoustic arrangements, a good sequence of chords.
Oh, come, let us adore
There will be drums at some point
him.
here.
Oh,
Coming,
come,
yeah.
let us adore him, Christ the Lord. God.
Really great. What were you? Just give me a few thoughts as to the arrangement there.
Sure. So that one, the first verse and chorus are completely acoustic, and then adds a little piano twinkle in the beginning. And it was just such,
Yeah.
it's just such a well-known and singable melody that I wanted to start almost like just core, and then when you get to that second verse, we hit with a boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom on the bass drum. And the one thing I did a lot that I really liked, and you can easily do at church, is just set a tambourine on top of your bass drum. You don't ever have to touch it, but whenever you hit the bass drum, you'll also hear the ksh, ksh, ksh. And it's a very like rootsy like sound that I really liked.
Great thought. Great. And it turns an arrangement immediately into Christmas. You put the tambourine in there, it's a little jingle bell vibe into it. So good trick. Well, you know what? We could go on and on with these, but for those of you listening in, you can do exactly what I've been doing. You could either get these hymns, listen to them, get your own ideas, or, get the chord chart. Probably if you download the charts and listen to the song, you're going to end up spinning it slightly to a style that's your own church's personality. And I mean, that's great, right? Just be inspired by these unique twists on these hymns and carols. And I think even if you're...
Sorry, I was going to say... a big part of these and all the Reawaken hymns arrangements are to simplify the chords. And Christmas, especially Christmas songs, have some wild chords in them. So like you said, when you get these, you can add your own spin on them, but at least you have like a simplified basis of chords that's not completely crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just kind of thinking of all the different church sizes. Like you take a church like a size of 50 or 100 or 200, where most churches are, and these songs will fit so well. But we've got a lot of churches here who are pushing like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and 10,000. And there's nothing more beautiful than just bringing it all down in a massive space like that. Cut all the lasers and maybe dial the smoke down just a little bit, and just like have a moment that makes you feel like you're in a living room, and creating some intimacy with these kind of arrangements as well. So in that sense, I feel like these can fit such a wide spectrum. Churches really like it.
For sure. Yeah, I love that feel when big churches do that and like bring it down to the living room. Because, it's so big all year, and then when they bring it, it's just this kind of, it just feels like all of a sudden your 5,000 person church is like your living room, and it's just fantastic for Christmas.
Yeah, really good. Well, I hope you feel inspired listening to these. We're going to put the links to all this music in the show notes. And thank you, Nathan. I mean, I don't know. We're going to have to, where are you going to go from here? But there's thousands and thousands of hymns. Maybe you could do like a Reformation project or something like that. Or I would have to spin out. How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, you better like, say something is like inspired by Ryan Dahl, the Reformation Project.
I will.
Reawaken hymn.
Real big on the cover. I'll put that right.
Okay, thank you very much. Merry Christmas, all of you. I hope you plan an amazing time of worship this Christmas. And thank you, Nathan. Keep arranging. I love these songs. Talk to you later.
Thank you.